Morning, afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to our today's class and today's session on life coaching. Uh, and today we are continuing in a second episode of we started a brand new series which named Love Heals. So, and today we have a part two, which we will discuss about important and very abstract type of topic of unconditional love. Uh, so, unconditional love is a very broad term, and we will try to understand and make our relevance with our current active and practical life. So, we will come on this shortly. Uh, I'm your host, Maratib Ali Shad, and I will be moderating and conducting the today's session. I welcome my all Zoom audience and Facebook audience as well. And at the same time, if somebody who is watching on Facebook can join me also on Zoom, because they can also share my screen as well for more interactive and enhancement of learning experience. You can also join my YouTube channel. There must be a link where I often upload a useful link as well. So that's the uh, brief introduction about myself and what we are going to do. So for today's session is about healing. Uh, the healing is a process which we more relate with of a disease of or a gap in your body, or also the gap in your mind as well. Healing is a process through which every person goes, uh, whether in a painful process, or healing can also be in spiritual way, from the healing point of view as well. However, today's we will continue to discuss how the love can impact on the life very positively, and especially when we do love unconditionally, then the process of healing uh, become more speedy, and not only speedy, but it will cure your problem, relationship issues, or personal issues, or problem with other societal factors as well. So there are a lot of factors which impact negatively to us. So uh, on this session, we will learn that how the love with the deeper and thoughtful way can impact our spiritual world, or we call inner world. Also, a lot of people have a negative emotions. They have fears, uh, guilties. They also have a lot of emotional triggers and uneven. Sometimes they become very happy, sometimes become very sad, angry, aggression, depression. So, how we can get rid of as well, and how we can help ourselves in this. Uh, Many people also says that if you have a pet in your home, and you will love that pet, a dog, cat, or many other forms of pet. People say that you will have 10 years more life when you will have more pet. So also we will learn about other things such as 0.04 percentage of population uh, in America, they do unconditional love. Only 0.04% is almost not even a 1% uh, out of huge democracy and number of population, not only in America but mostly all over the world where we can take these data. So that's a main dilemma in our society and world as well. Forgiveness is lack of lot of things in our life, and especially in relationship building, we lack of this fact as well. Um Many people can love with even their enemies. Even the worst person in the world is, we know that Adolf Hitler, who ordered, millions of people and Jews in the world at the same time in a very short span of time. But can we love with him as well? That is a question. Uh, Also, the people don't know about how to surrender, how we can surrender to with someone or with some person or with some idea or with some being, uh, and how we can share our love with that entity or being, uh, and what is the process of surrender actually. uh, like we use and we read a lot of content from the book Letting Go. So basically, letting go is all about surrendering yourself uh, for something, achievement of higher and greatness. So that we may touch these things as well. Also, the people have lot of pains uh, uh, which they have identified and which they unconsciously have in their mind and body as well, and how they can turn pain into as a loving person, because many people, they are very aggressive, they become angry. We call in our everyday life, they are rude people. They people are some sort of antisocial as well. They don't have ethics to meet or greet someone, because they, maybe they are very arrogant or racist, or they have own standards to meet other people. So, and if that person who is very difficult to even talk with that person, how that person turn into loving person. Also, we can learn from today about how we can detach ourselves with the things which give us pain. And almost many things in our world, they give us pain, and many times we become habitual of that pain. So we would keep ourselves attached with that thing unconsciously, and that will still be painful. But that painful, uh, we will absorb, we will accept as it is, like we doing breathing as well. But this permanent pain can turn into a love, can turn into a healing process, can turn into your spiritual development as well, and you will live more longer and more happier in a true sense. How is that possible? And the last but not the least is, if somebody does not love or does not have love or does not believe on love, maybe you have experienced those people. It means that that person, he or she, is violating the law of love. And what the significance he or she will miss out of violation, and more importantly, what the disaster that person can bring when he or she will live the life without love. Usually, they turn into some addiction, and then eventually they will do suicide, because suicide is the action which we do when we don't have love. It means that we don't have hope for some situation which is very, very irritating and is very annoying for me, that I can't live, and then that person lose that hope as well. And absence of love pushes that person to have suicidal thoughts, but these thoughts become so vulnerable that the person actually commits suicide. Um last week I met with one of my customer. I was sitting with her, and she said she needs to go to for some bereavement in the church. And I asked, is everything is okay? Then she told that her nephew got suicide in the college. So he hanged himself in the college, in the hostel. And then further I dig out what happened. Then she told that in the last couple of months, she became very insecure, in full of fear. He had so much pressure of studies as well. And but eventually he died. He killed himself by hanging himself in the room. And now she is going for annual ceremony in the church. Now, obviously, these are everyday thing. And if we don't have love, and we don't believe on love, then that love will be covered under the clouds of fears, traumas, tragedies, dilemmas, guilties, and series of guilties, diseases, physical illnesses, and then eventually either we will die naturally before our real time, or we will do commit suicide, or we will do in some very addiction involved, maybe uh, in sex, in drugs, in other extreme uh, habits which we can develop. But eventually, these all will take us towards death, or a miserable life, failed life. Um, so these are the important things which our episode will cover, our reading will cover. There are 5, 6 paragraphs, and that we will learn from our legend, American psychiatrist, Dr. David Hawkins. He wrote the book Letting Go, The Pathway of Surrender. And we do read a couple of things from these chapters which he wrote. I wish he would live and I would have met him in America. Or often he used to visit London in UK as well. But actually, it's not. But he is one of the legend for next, I think, 100 years of research in the personal development and the uh, spirituality, because he was a practitioner Christian as well, and he was a spiritual person as well. He was intellectual. He was a doctor as well. He was a author of various books, and he basically bring this map of consciousness which give us the roadmap of the life, and that map of consciousness in somehow exist in all spiritual ways, whether we are Muslim, we are Jew, we are Hindu, we are Buddhist, or we believe in somehow in other spiritual way. So this map of consciousness actually lead us and locate our current status of body and mind and spirit and soul, that where we stand and where we need to go and how we can measure ourselves. It's remarkable research he uh, he is doing. He has done, and that's the and today we will learn some of experts expertise through the book and the topic unconditional love. Um Before we go, obviously, we will learn a lot of things. We will read as well. I would like to emphasize on my audience that not only read these, but try to make a relevance with your current life. That what made my relationships not great in past, or how I can implement add values and change my paradigm to improve my quality of being with full of love in my current state as a present. And obviously, if I will maintain it, that will become my future as well. So I will be more loving person in future whenever I will meet. But that loving person is not for getting praise from someone. That loving person is getting praise from myself. For me, I need to be called loving person because I should spread my love. I should share my love. Because love is a verb as well, and love is a noun as well. Love is an agent as well. Love is a vital, very strong force as well to change anything, and so many things. So therefore, we need to have spirit to make ourselves more with unlimited flow of love, uh, for selfless love. Why selfless love is important? Because we love with my wife, with my children, with my friend, with my company because of some gain I want to do. I love because I want to get love from them as well. That's why I'm love. I do love. It's a selfishness. The true love does not demand anything from someone. It's just love. Have you seen some people in your life, or maybe you have loved with many people, even though they have lot of gaps or weaknesses, or not good people, maybe they are bad people, but you may have love with them. When this is the case, then it means that you are loving with them from spirit, from your spiritual dimension, from your consciousness, you are loving them. And that is also one of the litmus tests you can do. It's very much like a mother, a love of a mother towards child, or a dad towards a child. And even the child become very bad person in future when they become adult or in later life. But still the love from the parents towards children does not uh, finish, does not go towards minimize this intensity. It remain there, the love remains there, and that is a unconditional love. But some parents, some children, uh, we all are selfish as well. We also love for sake of mostly selfishness. I love my friend because I have some concern with for my benefit from towards my friend. I love my child because of something I'm getting from my child as well. I love my parents because they may be rich and they needs to. I'm taking some materialistic benefit from my parents. So that's all we are, and it's okay as a normal life. That's that has to be done. I love uh, my colleague in office. I love my boss because they have given me the job. They're giving me salary, and this is a selfishness in a conscious level I'm talking about. But on a everyday life, it's very normal. But to have a normal life does not mean that it's still normal. It means that our normal life starts when we start to living with conscious level, when we start to live with the spirit of saint as well. If I'm talking about saint who is a packet of love, who have the reflection of love which Jesus Christ used to have with us. It has the love with those people who got the love from lot of prophets, especially the last prophet, Prophet Muhammad as well. That love could be the love from I can induce from my parents or some celebrity or some historical personality which I admire. So you can induce the love from anywhere, but that love must not be selfish love. Love is only the unconditional love. If you have condition, if you don't do unconditional love with someone or you, then it means that you are not living a normal consciousness based life. And that is a litmus test as well. So if you are trying to build a relationship with someone, let's talk about in the business world. I love my customer. Okay. Why I love my customer? Because they give me money. They sell my product and services. But that's a selfishness. Have you ever thought to love your customer or a visitor or a prospect where you can make a deal or they can buy your product and service? Even they do not buy your product and service, do you have a still empathy and unconditional love those people? How many times you have made a list of all people which rejected your product and services in a business, and you still loved with them as the same spirit as you love with the other person who give you a big deal with you? No, we don't have capacity for this. We don't have courage to do this because we don't believe on unconditional love. We believe on selfish love as a buyer or as a seller as well. The same thing. Why I love, let's say, Apple company, like let's say Samsung company, let's say why I love Microsoft, because I'm using this product and and I love their product because it give me productivity in my life. It makes me more confident. This brand give me identification or association. That's why I'm associating with that brand, and that's why I market that brand to my friend and family to as well. And did we love with any organization or company without any using their product and service? No, because in our world it's not normal to without testing or without subscribe or buy their product and service. So today's topic will very important for you, how we can believe on unconditional love, not with your soulmate, not with your boyfriend or girlfriend, not with your husband or wife. It covers all areas of life. It covers mm, almost all areas of your life. And So let's see what we can do, what we can learn from today's reading. If you have also any question or thought and or your story about love, because this topic is very common for us. Everybody is in love. I'm in love. I'm in love with many people. I'm in love with many objects. I'm in love with many ideas. I'm in love with God or Allah. I'm in love with a lot of other things. But does my love follow any interest to take from someone? Let's talk about the God. Why we love God? Because God is giving me money. Because God has given me life. Because God has given me beautiful children. Because God has given me a lot of other things, business and thing, right? Is that your love? You can call it love. It means that if sometime the God snatches from you these old things, you will not love your God, right? And many times people they condemn God as well. They hate God as well. Oh, why you did with me this? Or why you did with me this? Or why you uh, make my child died in front of me? Why I lost my parents? You are not God. So we try to hate God as well because the foundation of love with my God was very selfish. Have you tried to love your God without any condition? Because you never thought about your God without condition, therefore that will reflect on your all relationships in your life. You will make a relationship with your children or your parents or your friend or your boss with somehow from lower to higher expectation with severe condition. And especially the husband and wife relationship is based on entirely on condition. I see seldom husband and wife or girlfriend or boyfriend relationship that they are in somehow without any interest with each other. No, every time they have relationship with so much huge list of condition. I will live with you because you will do this. I will live and I will marry with you because you do this. So much condition. And therefore our relationships are very poor. So many divorces in Europe and America and even in Asian countries also are happening every day. Millions of couples are separating from each other because of this selfish or condition based love with each other. They think that maybe I will do conditional love if I will become God or saint or Sufi or some monk or some, then I can do unconditional love with anyone. No, it's not. This unconditional love is the present action oriented idea and reality which we can do with everyone beyond from our societal or worldly relationship, formal expectation we do. Oh, well, husband and wife cannot do unconditional love. Oh, well, children and parents cannot do unconditional love. Well, boss and employee cannot do unconditional love. That's because we have been trained by this. And therefore, we think that this is a reality. And that's quite normal if I'm making some terms and condition with someone when I want to be in relationship. And that same relationship we make with God as well. And that polluted our life in past and that is still polluting my current life. No matter how much I will have money. But that money will goes anyway. What will happen when you will not have money? Then what will happen with your love? So the mindset which you will create now will eventually reflect in later on your life as well. So if you believe on unconditional love now, no matter it may be difficult to uh, maintain a unconditional love, but in future, if something happens wrong, like you become a bankrupt person, you have a zero balance in bank account, when especially, for example, your wife or husband dies for some reason and you left alone, for example, something happened in your life in other tragedy, then you will see your unconditional love, which you used to not only believe, but actually you used to um, practice it. That will save you. That will not make you dive in a world of traumas or tragedies. You will not go there. You will stay calm, relax, and with peace, and with still full of love, because you did love without any condition. So that love is not going anyway. You see, that's the beauty. Uh, that's a climax of that reality. That how we can do, and nothing will even you will be out of any fear if you will do unconditional love. You know why we do. Have you think about when boyfriend or girlfriend they make a relationship with each other, and I mean the husband and wife also, when they do a lot of condition and they love with each other for many reasons, when what happens when these reasons finish, and what happens when these reasons further piles up as well, and what happens their fears also piles up as well. Wife has always have fear that my husband will have extramarital relationships, and she will have a fear of rejection, and that fear will build with many other fears, and eventually, because of lack of unconditional love, eventually both will go away from each other. That is a consequence. And the same thing with the husband as well, that my wife does love with me because I'm a rich man, and therefore uh, he will have a fear my wife will leave me or divorce me when I will be bankrupt. When I will have a zero balance, my wife will leave me. And so these type of fears only operates and make your mind polluted against each other, and you will have a very poor relationship, even you are living with your each other with compromise. So when you live with each other without any expectation, sorry, not expectation, I mean without any conditions, then we we will get the result what we believed. The last thing before we start our reading is about, have you learned about the phenomena of ecstasy? Ecstasy is ECTASY. Ecstasy. Maybe some people are not familiar. It is the state of mind without, in love without reason. Mostly people give this or are in this state of emotion when they love with anyone without any reason. Because when you love with someone without any reason or without any condition, then you only love with that person. That is a pure love, right? And that state is also called in spiritual world ecstasy. So and it has a different interpretation in different spiritual tradition as well. And so that's the thing which we can do. And therefore uh, psychiatrist David Hawkins says only 0.04% people they have unconditional love when they did survey. I believe this this figure he must have done all over the world or probably in America, because his organization where he was a director was a research organization. So, and that organization was operating from America. So maybe that's figure from America only. But that's a very acceptable that even 0.04%, I mean, still people are in the world where they love with someone unconditional. So let's try to read it, and we will read it with little bit speed, because we will try to cover 6 pages, I mean 6 paragraphs, small paragraphs as well. And before we start reading, if you want to share your thoughts or question or any type of feeling, share with me, share with the audience. It's recording, or otherwise we can start the reading.
Well, it's been a lovely class, and the thing, we all have to love with all things, as like our pets, as like a heart of a sparrow, as like when we love a pet, they also represent, express their love for us unconditionally. So we also have to do love like this.
Absolutely, yeah. That's why the pet are very important in our life, because petting the animal is that pet is no more animal now. That's part of yourself. Therefore, many people love their dogs and cats like their pure family member. I mean, when the cat is ill, the person is also feeling little bit sad. If the dog is not feeling well, the person is also a little bit sad. So pet is very important, absolutely. And obviously um, we love with pets, and we increase our age by 10 years as well, like last time we learned as well. The survey says the people who have more pets, or they have been with pets, especially with dogs, they live 10 years more longer. But for beyond from this data or figure, it is a reality that because they teach us how to love, why to love, and that's why we call them pet, because the petting is the symbol of being love or do love. And animals are the great creation, great friends of people. Absolutely. So let's start it our reading, and um, now we will read 2 paragraphs altogether instead of one. So I would ask Jenny if you can start reading, please.
Unconditional love. By continual surrender, we experience the state of unconditional love, calibrates at 540, which is rare and occurs in only 0.04% of the population. This energy is miraculous, inclusive, non-selective, transformative, unlimited, effortless, radiant, devotional, saintly, diffuse, merciful, and selfless. It is characterized by inner joy, faith, ecstasy, patience, compassion, persistence, essence, beauty, synchronicity, perfection, surrender, rapture, vision, and openness. We relinquish seeing the personal self as a casual agent. Everything happens effortlessly by synchronicity.
Yeah, carry on, please. Yeah.
Joy emanates from the inner subjective experience of our own existence. The power of the joy is subjective, not stemming away from source outside of oneself. Thus, the energy of motor performance is inexhaustible. We may dance with ecstasy all night in a candlelight chapel, as if being danced by the source of life itself. In that state, the innate perfection and stunning beauty of all that exists shines forth like a luminous radiance, as the infusion of spiritual energy facilitates the transfiguration from perception to vision, from the linear to the nonlinear, and from the limited to the unlimited. While functioning in the world is still possible at the higher vibrations of love, high 500s, we may end up leaving the ordinary arena of commerce and abandoning our prior social milieu and occupation.
Excellent. Thank you very much. It's a great reading. So these are all things is very self-explanatory, and lot of terms which we already will, has found from here is very relevant in our present life. If you see that unconditional love is linked with so many things like miraculous, it's a transformative, it's unlimited, it's effortless, it's related with surrender, you know, ecstasy is related with patience, persistent, beauty, openness, and so many other things we get or we become attached with those things. Have you seen that so much power of this unconditional love? And it's continue. So for example, if you want to practice or add values in your life of any of these things, which Hawkins is saying, we just start to do unconditional love and all things will come automatically inside. It's very clear. You don't need to spend thousands of dollars and pounds to college or university or to a medical institution to fuel the love and to fuel the faith and vision and persistence of patience and selfless inside you. No, nobody can do it. These are the magic in our spiritual world. Unconditional love only make you. You will not, there is no shop in the market you go and pay them, look, I have $1,000, can you make me selfless? No. Or you go on Amazon and buy a beauty or perfection inside you and you pay them by credit card. No, these are not for buying and selling. These are unlimited resources from our Creator, from our universe to us, and we have to identify it. That's it we need to do. We don't need to be rich for those things. So let's continue for this reading. So I would ask Cynthia if you start reading this paragraph and the next paragraph.
In such states, the miraculous is common. What is termed supernatural is seen to occur all the time in inexplicable reason, by reason, logic, or cause and effect. It is clear that no person performs miracles. They occur spontaneously on their own when conditions are appropriate. The development of a spiritual ego is avoided by the realization that the phenomena are a gift from beyond our personal self. We are only the channels of love, not its origin. Spiritual progress is known to be the result of grace, not the result of our personal endeavors. Gratitude for the state replaces pride of accomplishment. The process of surrender continues ever more deeply as we let go of all doubt, all belief symptoms, all perceptions, all positions, all opinions, and all attachments. We become willing to surrender all attachments, even attachment to the exquisite state of ecstasy, which is beyond description.
Yeah, please continue.
Out of humility, all opinions about others are surrendered. In a certain way, nobody can help being other than what they are. Love knows this truth and takes no position. Love augments the positive about others rather than their defects. It focuses on life's goodness in all of its expressions. Unconditional love is a love that doesn't expect anything from others. When we have become loving, we have no limitations or demands on others that they should be a certain way in order to be loved. We love them no matter how they are, even if they are obnoxious. We feel sorry for the criminals that they saw in life of crime as they post opinion or option. I'm sorry. When love is unconditional, there's no attachment, expectation, hidden agenda, or bookkeeping of who gives what to whom. Our love is unconditional for whatever we are and whatever they are. It is given without requirements. No strings are attached. We don't expect anything back when giving. We have surrendered all conscious and unconscious expectations of the other person.
Thank you very much. It's a great reading. Thank you. So, you see how beautiful vibes we are getting, we are reading, that we cannot read or buy from any shop. That's all inside me. That's all inside you. Because we are packet of love. We are source of love. But that source of love is covered with my everyday conditions, which I learned from my society, right from my childhood to my teen age, to my adolescence, and to my later life. All things which I learned from society, they were like a black clouds which spread the fears in in my life and make me away or partially away from the source of love which I have already as an instinct, like a blood in in my body is the way cause of my existence. The same is love is with me, but I was not identified with it. I missed it actually, and that love actually, which could be make me a most loving person and person free from fears and suffering and free from negative energies. That did not possible because I did not identify. And now I, if I have identified, if I have discovered me, myself as a source of love, then I need to practice it. I need to show it. I need to manifest it. So this manifestation will give me all things which I could imagine even. If I am looking for a soulmate of a person who also can do unconditional love or believe in empathy or believe in compassion, compassionate value, or also in all these things which you are learning, then you only can get when you start to believe on this. You cannot get soulmate when you have a conditioned mindset. That's a reality. If you are expecting other people to treat you in the same way, you need to treat the other people in the same way first. Then too you can expect. The same thing if you need unconditional love from someone, you need to have a believe on unconditional love first. The ball is always in your court. So that's the beauty of this thing. And there are all things are very clear, and I will not say anything, but there is a very beautiful thing. We feel sorry for criminals that they saw a life of a crime as their best option. You know, I often have some dialogue with my wife as well when we are discussing even crimes and bad things, stuff is happening. Then I often have empathy and show my love towards criminal or even to the terrorist as well, because not only because of act they did, because how pathetic they were the source of love, and now they are spreading hate and involved in crimes. And what make them criminals and terrorists or bad people or group? Our world. Because we train ourselves and train other people with so many conditions. And when these conditions are not fulfilled, then criminals do crimes. Terrorists do terrorist acts. So these with the with this dimension, we can empathize. We can have empathy with our criminals as well. And therefore, many researchers, when somebody does any crime or series of crime, the researcher or psychologist or psychiatrist, they also meet with that person or that group and try to understand why did they happen, why did they do this, what were the social stimulus, what were the social uh, waves or vibes who they pushed these people or him or her to that crime. So yeah, so Jenny is saying my service work is prison here in Georgia. Okay, yeah, you can explain it more, Jenny, if you want. Well, obviously, that's the unconditional love is a great. Not only fact, but it's a ultimate reality which we need to understand. So let's try to, it's a second last two paragraphs, and I can ask Javeria if you can start reading for this.
Love
Okay.
eliminates
Yeah, you continue,
okay.
Javeria.
Love eliminates the essence of and therefore the lovability of others. This is because love opens the heart instead of prescription, which pre-services, receives. Uh, the heart knows. The mind thinks that argues, but the heart all know the continuous. So if when people make mistake, we love them. Thoughts tell us one thing. but the heart tells us something else. The mind can be critical and disagree, but the heart is but the heart is loving no matter what. The heart does not put any condition on words out there. Only the mind does. Only the mind does that. Love makes no demand. A key to making love unconditional is the willingness to forgive. With forgiveness, even and the people are recontextualization as simple, limited, not bad or unlovable. With humanity, we are willing to really push our perception of a past event. We pray for a miracle to see the truth about the situation or person, and we surrender all of our opinions about the matter. We look at the payoff we are getting from keeping our perceptions of what occurred, and we let go of each little payoff, the pleasure of self-pity, of being right, of wrong, and of our resentment.
Thank you. Please continue.
Eventually, we surrendered the very idea of forgiveness. To forgive someone implies that we are still seeing the person or situation as wrong and therefore in need of being forgiven. True surrender means letting go completely to seeing it in such a way. When we surrender our perception completely, letting go of all judgment, then we whole situation is transfigured, and we see the person as lovable. Since all judgment is really self-judgment, we have liberated ourselves in the process.
Thank you. It's a great reading. Thank you. So, if you see that there is a couple of points which I will go and just the last paragraph then left, and we can finish our today's session. The important which we need to more understand the we need to separate love from the mind, and that's very controversial aspect I'm going to tell you. When we give the reason to some association or attachment, then these all reasons are coming out from my mind, because mind is giving a reason, right? And reason is again condition, and that condition will make my relationship with that person limited, with selfishness, and with further conditions I will put as the time pass. So therefore, you must love not from your mind. The love has a separate dimension from the mind. If you are loving your wife or husband or your girlfriend or boyfriend because of many reasons, and you need to understand these reasons are coming from my mind, and don't follow these mind, because mind will judge the outcomes of these expectations, and then eventually there will be ups and downs in the relationship, and that will weak the relationship in the long term as well, until it finish with divorce, or until one of the partner transformed his or her life in the way that they start to do unconditional love. and that will change the whole condition. So have you seen, or you can imagine that, for example, husband and wife, uh, I'm sharing again and again husband and wife because of the factor of love, but that's not limited to husband and wife. That factor can relate and equate with any other situation. For example, the between customer and the client and the company, between God and the you, between society and you, between cosmological facts and the you, between yourself and the you. So that can you apply on many things. So let's come to the point. So between husband and wife, if we will give the reasons to stay with each other, and obviously sorry, I forgot the point which I was making, that the if one of the partner has started to realize the importance of unconditional love, and she or he start to feel and practice the unconditional love and all these things from core of the heart, then the other person will receive it very positively. Your unconditional love, always remember, it will not damage other person, but the other person will welcome it and also reshape herself or himself the way you reshape yourself. And that's how the ideal relationships start to establish. So therefore, there are some factors when I start to become a mediate between husband and wife in my life. Then I emphasized on that fact that one of the person must take initiative and do something beyond from conditions, and that will impact on the other person, and then you can start with the new way of life, new paradigms of living. And it worked very well. So therefore, uh, unconditional love and the factor is a great bonding between husband and wife, and we can save our families to become separate from each other. That's the miraculous consequence we can have from this earth, because it will also allow to forgive other. For example, imagine I'm a husband or I'm a wife, and my husband or wife have done something wrong, very annoyable, yeah, and something which a normal husband and wife will have a huge conflict. Yeah. If I do unconditional love, then her or his any wrongdoing will not impact on me to maintain the quality of the relationship as it is, because I did not expect anything from him or her. I did not love with him or her because of these reason. And if sometime if that reason does not valid or violate anything, then I start to also away from that person. No. So that's the beauty of unconditional love, that you stay there at the same position, and the other person will receive it very positively, and that person will ma- in love with you with more intensity than before, because you forgive him or her. That forgiveness is also possible when you do conditional love. How many times we forgive our partner or our children or my friend? If my friend does have done something wrong with me, did I forgive him or her anytime? Or if any bad customer have come to me and he or she did some bad stuff with me, and did I have a capacity to forgive her or him as a seller? No, never. So, because we did not do love unconditionally, that's why we will not forgive that person. So, forgiveness is the ultimate outcome of unconditional love. And imagine if you have a habit of forgiveness, it means that you are loving and you are the person who does unconditional love. And then there will be no conflict will be ever. That will be perfect life, isn't it? So that perfect life only possible with other people's in a relationship when you don't put any condition. So that is a important point which I can share, and that is related with that surrender as well. Like you have surrendered yourself, and you have killed your ego. If your partner has done something wrong, you are not standing and saying, "Why you did this? I'm going to away from you." Or I don't love you, or I hate you. No, this thing does not come on this thing when you become a source of love, especially unconditional love. The last paragraph is for today's reading. I would request Jenny if she can start and finish it.
On the level of unconditional love, we love everybody and everything, even Adolf Hitler. We look at him as a person who is taken over by negative energies, and we're willing to forgive Hitler, who couldn't help what happened to him. He was overcome by evil. Instead of hating evil, we feel sorrow and compassion that people have become overwhelmed by such negativity. Hitler did what he thought was required to do by honor. That was his contextualization at the time. He was captured by certain ideals and beliefs current in his time. Even with Hitler, then, we can see that he was dedicated and he thought he was being of service in what he did. In World War II, the kamikaze pilots were doing what they thought they should be doing for their country. And even though they were trying to bomb and kill us, it isn't necessary to hate them. We can respect their willingness to give up their life for their country. We can see that everybody who violates the law of love is really a victim of some societal belief system or the pressures of the time.
Excellent.
Yeah. I don't agree with this, but go ahead.
Yeah. Please go on. Please share.
I think Hitler was coming from a very bad place. I think that it was actually evil what he did, and he was driven by that. We would have loved for him to have changed his heart, absolutely, especially with such a power over that many people. But 6 million people were killed under his reign, and that is still historical.
Dear.
And it was just awful. So this is an example that's a little tough, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. When I was reading it and typing it on the thing, then I said maybe the Dr. David, he neglected what he has done. And even I cannot express my I can feel the pain for these people who were in torture, and torture is even a very small thing for that thing what he did on a national level and
well, what he did, Maratib, continues to live today in the persecution of the Jewish community. And it's like, it's not just that what he did back at that time was such a bad thing, because of course it was horrific. It extends even to 2021, where there's still people that, when you do things of his level, then generations of people are taught, like those people back then were taught that persecution of a particular race. And then that kind of carries on into family after family after family. So even in Hitler's death, his evil continued
I will continue.
through
I agree.
his teachings.
I agree. It's a very very painful. Even if you see that the I mean I don't want to talk on religious or communal anything, but the aspect or the reality which we got out of the Hitler's outrage or hatred against Jewish community, that the Jewish community all over the world became so defensive, extremely defensive, because it wasn't even the any higher degree. I mean, it was the unlimited higher degree of scaredness or fear that some leader can kill the millions of people in a so brutally way. So let's try and become more defensive. So that's why the Israelis, the region, they become so defensive. They started to secure them by learning, by developing technology, so that they can make a shield around their borders, and so that they can, so that also became the consequence of that brutally event happened. And obviously you I mean it's quite difficult to absorb, but possibly the David Hawkins, he tries here for Adolf Hitler as that if we wanted to create any dimension to love him, that what could be the dimension we can do. But I agree with you that still I mean we cannot find any dimension to love him, except that the society or ideology which he or his party used to have, that has catastrophical destruction, not only the physical deaths they did, but still the unrest in the world also is going on in form of Arab-Israeli conflict, American and uh, American interference in Israel and Arab world, that all have become as a source of collective unhappiness across the world because of that factor. I agree. Uh, but let's come to the point, the main point which he is trying to say, that the love is a very foundational and like a ocean of drops of the love we can come out from our side, and that's only possible when we feel it, when we realize it, and then start to believe on this. And because he is mentioning that this is the law of love, and if we violate this law of love, then we will become victim of our society's norm, our society's social norm. And what here he means, or I can elaborate, that, for example, if there is a lack of love between husband and wife, or more condition between husband and wife, or more condition between other two parties, then the victim or the consequence will happen according to the society. So in our society, if the children are also involved in that marriage, children will suffer because of that divorce. Both self will be separated, and they die more early. Some of the researches I read that the people who are in somehow breaking relationship, they have more tendency towards long-term diseases and early deaths than the other people who are living as a family life. But obviously, exceptions are there. We are talking about here general and mainstream thing. So that's the thing which we need to realize, we need to understand, and that's the idea of unconditional love is not only idea, but it's a reality, is absolutely reality which is within myself, and that we have to practice it in our daily life. It's difficult because nobody is doing it. 0.04% they have done it. So where I stand, but if you know the truth and you are damn sure that it is the truth, then start to do it. That's I must say that, and it it can be flourish unconditional love by reading more spiritual and sacred literature, by doing it more exercise, uh, consciously realization that I'm a source of love, do meditation, I'm a source of love, and that start to activate the drive of love from you for not only for yourself but for the outer world. So so you have anybody has question or thought?
May I?
Yeah.
It's a quotation of Rumi. According to a quotation of Rumi, he said that if any one person have bad behavior with you, then love him and her more. He'll turn change. So it's also when we will love them unconditionally, and it's also a fact that unconditional love takes more patience. We have behave more with more patience to do love unconditionally, as there is a lot of example love unconditionally. The great example we have that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he loved his ummah unconditionally. Even the person around him, they torture him, and but he was still loving them unconditionally, and this still example is nowadays that Master Hussein alayhi salam, he also sacrificed his all in the way of God, in the love of God unconditionally. So God created all of us for love. No one is created for hate. So it's a great thing and a great change if someone love in the term of unconditional love.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing your views.
And we have to follow them. We will never like them, but we have to follow them as they did, and all things.
Yeah, that's right. It's a great example from religious historical context you have explained. I want to tell very briefly to the audience. She means to say that the Prophet Muhammad he also show love towards his enemies all the time, although he faced so much struggles and difficulties when he was spreading the message of God to the people in Arab. Uh, and Also when his son-in-law law's family, his grandson-law, his name was Imam Hussein, may Allah be pleased with him. He was also killed very badly but his killing was actually as a result of unconditional love towards the people of Islam, and that he was beheaded um, for all followers of Islam. Until today, uh, people celebrate and people are sad as well for that event happened in Karbala in Iraq. That's happened around 1400 years ago. He's mentioning about unconditional love of Imam Hussein and from the Prophet Muhammad from Islamic historical point of view. Thank you very much, Javeria. I appreciate for your sharing. Uh, if you have any question, then let me know. Otherwise, next week we will continue this series of love with the next series. The next part I will share with you. It will be oneness, and that's oneness and love. Oneness and the love is a great theme of spiritual world and in our real world as well, and we will try to explore what does it mean by oneness, and what does how it is related with my personal life, my business life, my family life, and my life in the country or city where I am living. What is the relevance? We will learn next Sunday. So this is a part number 3. We will go to next week. So we will come again on the same channel on the Zoom. So before we go, I would request, if you haven't joined my YouTube channel, then you can join, and you can invite your friend and family for 1 hour learning every Sunday, which can change your life in many dimensions as well. And I will continue bring new content for you. So thank you so much. I appreciate your presence, your contribution in the class, and see you in the next class next Sunday, same time. Thank you.
Thank you, Maratib. Everybody have a great week.
Thank you so much, Maratib.
Thank you.
And will you stay on after everybody goes so I
Okay.
can talk to you? Okay,
Okay.
thanks.
Yeah. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, Javeria.
Recording stopped.